Okay, so are you ready to like really dive deep into social media marketing?
Let's do it.
Because I feel like everyone's talking about it,
Yeah.
but I don't know if everyone's doing it right, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be looking at today.
Right.
We're going to be diving deep into the definitive guide to social marketing workbook.
And I have to say, this is not your typical like fluff piece.
Right.
This guide gets into some nitty-gritty details. Like, I was really impressed.
Yeah, it surprised me too.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I expected. I thought it was going to be kind of like just another one of those like surface level,
Right.
social media guides. But they actually like really go deep, especially when they start talking about how traditional marketing is like
Yeah.
struggling.
Absolutely.
Like they hit you with this stat in the beginning. That's like over 200 million people are on the do not call list
It's incredible.
in the U.S.
Yeah.
Like that's huge.
That's a huge number.
When was the last time you answered a telemarketer call?
Never.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So it's like that's a prime example right there of how
Absolutely.
traditional marketing is just not working the way that it used to.
It's not just that, though. I mean, think about how many TV ads do you actually watch?
Yeah, that's true.
Do you even look at your mailbox anymore?
I go straight to the recycling bin.
It's true. And this guide connects those things to the rise of social media.
So are they saying that social media marketing is like the solution?
Well, it's not quite that simple.
Yeah.
It's more about a fundamental shift
Yeah.
in how we're connecting with people.
Okay.
It's not just like adding another tool to your belt. It's really about moving from that like company to buyer model to something that's much more peer-to-peer.
Interesting.
It's like, who are you going to trust more, right?
Right.
Some company telling you how great they are, or your friend who's like, hey, I love this thing.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Exactly. And that's what this guide really tries to dig into,
Yeah.
is how to harness that power.
It's like the difference between getting a flyer in the mail and like having a conversation with someone.
Exactly. It's that
It's
authenticity.
way more powerful.
It really is.
Yeah.
So it's about figuring out how to tap into that.
Okay.
How do you make your audience those advocates for you?
Interesting. So how do we do that? How do we tap into that power? So how do we actually do that? Where do we even begin? I feel like a lot of people get overwhelmed by this idea of like building a social media presence. It's like, where do you even start?
Right. It can definitely feel daunting,
Yeah.
but this is where the guide gets really practical.
Oh,
It's not about just like, posting a bunch of selfies and hoping for the best, right?
Right.
You need to have a plan.
okay, so what's step one?
Step one, according to the guide, is to define your goals.
Okay.
And I know that sounds really basic,
Right?
but you'd be surprised how many businesses just skip right over that step.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
They just jump right in.
They're just like, let's be on social media. And it's like, okay, but what does that even mean?
Right. What are you trying to achieve?
Exactly. Are you trying to increase brand awareness? Are you trying to generate leads?
Get more customers.
Yeah, customer loyalty, all of that. So you have to define those goals first.
Okay, so you have your goals.
Okay.
Then what?
Then content.
Yeah.
You need something to actually talk about.
That's where I get stuck. It's
No.
like, what am I going to share?
It's not enough to just show up.
Right.
You have to have something valuable to offer.
Right. And consistent.
Exactly. And that's where this idea of content variety comes in.
Okay.
It's not just about like, posting a blog post every once in a while.
No.
You need a mix.
Okay, like what? What are some examples?
Think ebooks, guides, white papers,
Okay.
tip sheets, blog posts, infographics,
Okay.
even memes.
Themes.
Oh, yeah. You gotta have some fun with it, too. Okay. But the point is, you need to keep things interesting and engaging.
Okay, so you're keeping it lively, you're mixing it up,
Exactly.
so people don't get bored.
Right. And, the guide mentions this stat that 73% of consumers prefer learning about a company from articles, not ads.
Wow, that's huge.
Right. People are tuning out the ads.
Yeah.
They want valuable information.
So it's about building trust.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have our goals, we have our content, what else?
You got to know your audience.
Okay.
Where do they hang out online?
Yeah, which platform?
Exactly. Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on LinkedIn?
Right.
You got to meet them where they are.
Okay, so that's step 3. Know where your audience is. So we've got our goals, we've got our content, and we know where our audience is. What's next?
Now the fun begins.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so now we have to choose the right platforms, right?
Right.
Because there's a lot of them.
There are a ton.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like, how do we even choose?
Well, the good news is this guide breaks it down.
Okay, good.
It actually gets into the weeds on specific platforms.
Okay, So which ones are we talking about?
Well, let's start with like the big ones for B2B, right?
Okay.
So Facebook's still obviously a big player.
Yeah.
But the guide really emphasizes understanding how their algorithm works.
Okay, EdgeRank.
Right, exactly. EdgeRank.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just post randomly.
Right.
You have to understand what makes content get seen.
So what's the secret?
Engagement. The more people interact with your posts, the more Facebook shows it to other people.
So it's like a snowball effect.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do we get that snowball rolling?
High-quality content that's going to get people liking, commenting, sharing.
Okay, and what kind of content works best?
Visuals. Think photos, videos, even live streams.
Okay, so visuals are key for Facebook.
Definitely.
What about Twitter? Because that one's like a whole different beast.
It is. And the guide actually recommends something called the 411 rule.
Okay, I've never heard of that. What is it?
So for every one hard sell you're doing,
Okay.
like directly promoting something, you should have one soft promotion.
Okay, so like what's an example of that?
Like mentioning a free resource or an upcoming webinar.
Okay.
And then for every one of those, you should have 4 pieces of valuable content from others.
Okay, so like retweets and stuff.
Exactly. Industry news, interesting articles, things that provide value, even if they're not directly related to your business.
Okay, so 4 pieces of other people's good content for every one soft sell and then one hard sell.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Easy to remember, too.
Yeah, okay, so that's Twitter. What about LinkedIn? Because I feel like that one's kind of a no-brainer for B2B.
It is. But even then, people get it wrong.
Okay, so what are they missing?
Optimization. The guide talks a lot about making sure your profile is set up for SEO.
Okay, yeah, keywords and stuff.
Exactly. And don't forget about LinkedIn groups.
Oh, yeah, those.
Yeah, that's where the real networking happens.
So those are super valuable.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Engage, participate, build those relationships.
Okay, so Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. What about YouTube? Because I feel like that one's often overlooked for B2B.
Right. But it shouldn't be. Did you know that 55% of B2B folks prefer consuming long-form content like white papers as podcasts? Seriously. People are busy. They don't have time to sit and read.
Exactly.
They want to listen on the go.
Exactly. And YouTube is perfect for that.
So we should be turning our content into videos.
Absolutely. Think how-to guides, explainer videos, even just repurposing your blog posts.
And then people can listen while they're commuting or,
Exactly.
working the dog.
Multitasking. Plus, you get that added bonus of YouTube SEO.
Right, because YouTube's a search engine too.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got these platforms, we've got all this content we have to create.
It's a lot.
How do we actually manage all of this? Do we need like a whole team of people?
Well, luckily there are tools for that.
And this guide does a good job of breaking down the different types of tools.
Okay, so what are our options?
Well, you've got your monitoring tools.
Okay.
And I don't just mean like basic alerts, I mean like real social listening.
Okay, so like what are we talking about here?
Tools like Hootsuite or Sprout Social.
Okay.
These help you track what people are saying about your brand online, identify potential opportunities.
So you can like nip any problems in the bud
Exactly.
before they become a thing.
Reputation management is key.
Okay, so we have monitoring. What else?
Well, and you've got presence management tools.
Okay.
Think Buffer.
Yeah.
Later.
Yep.
These help you schedule your posts in advance.
Right, so you're not like scrambling every day to figure out what to post.
Exactly. Consistency is key.
Okay, so those tools can help.
Absolutely. And then there are tons of publishing tools out there. Canva, Adobe Express, the list goes on and on.
So whatever you need help with, there's probably a tool for it.
Exactly. But the guide really emphasizes not getting too caught up in the tools themselves.
Right, because they're supposed to be helping us, not like taking over our lives.
Exactly. It's still about the strategy.
Okay, so start with the strategy, then figure out the tools.
Exactly.
Okay, all of this sounds great.
Yeah.
But how do we know if it's actually working? Like, how do we measure the ROI of social media?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the guide acknowledges it's a challenge,
Okay.
but it also provides solutions.
Okay, so what are they?
First, you got to ditch the vanity metrics.
Okay.
Likes, followers, retweets, those don't pay the bills.
They feel good, though.
They do, but we need to focus on the metrics that actually matter to our business.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
Engagement. How much are people actually interacting with your content?
Okay.
Website traffic. Are people clicking through from your social media post to your website?
Okay.
Leads, sales. These are the things that matter.
Okay, so how do we track all that?
Google Analytics is your best friend.
Right.
You can set up conversion goals and see exactly how your social media efforts are contributing to your bottom line.
Wow, so you can actually see it.
Exactly. Data is king.
Okay, so we're not just hoping for the best, we're actually measuring our results.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how you can prove the value of social media.
This has been so eye-opening. I feel like I finally have a handle on this whole social media thing.
I'm so glad. Remember, social media is constantly changing. But the fundamentals we talked about today, those are going to stay the same.
Okay, so focus on the fundamentals.
Yes. And adapt as you go.
This has been awesome. For me, the biggest takeaway is just how important it is to be adaptable and to really track those results.
Absolutely.
So what about you listening? What was your biggest takeaway? Head over to social media and let us know. Use hashtag the deep dive so we can find you.
We would love to hear from you.
And that's it for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.